how sweet it is to be loved by you nerds. What is up? It's me, your buddy pal HeyArcher. Welcome back to, as I almost knocked stuff over, HeyArcher Live here on Nerd Affiliated. It's an air duster, by the way. That's what I was holding in my hand. Welcome back to HeyArcher Live here on Nerd Affiliated. This is your weekly Thursday night nerdy talk show where we sit back and relax. We sit back and relax. And hopefully by now you've poured yourself a little bit of,
more specifically, vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
as we cruise into the weekend. I tell you, I hate the fact that this design is just on one side of the cup. Like, it's annoying. It's annoying. Actually, Anthony's in the chat. For those lefties in the house, do you hold your coffee cup with your left hand or your right hand? Because I tend to hold with my left hand, even though I'm a righty. Curious. Of course, if you have a YouTube channel, podcast, blog, vlog, OnlyFans, newsletter, smoke signals, whatever it may be, put it in the chat, support one another, plug yo shit. Yeah, we have, of course, some Haslab news to talk about, or Haslab story, I guess, to talk about. We'll talk about Hasbro in general. I have some thoughts about some things said this week about Hasbro. Talk to you guys about TerraCon that just passed this past weekend. Want to run some ideas by you for some content, and overall, as we do every week, just kind of nerd out. So yeah, if you have any ideas for topics, let me know. But of course, without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, it is me. It is me. Yo soy el problema. It is me. Happy to have you guys here with me tonight on the show. Of course, it is a very special day. It is a day of remembrance for what happened, which it's crazy to think that was like more than 20 years ago already at this point. But day of remembrance for that. So, you know, of course, can never forget about those we lost on this day. And as a New Yorker, it always kind of hits different in a way, especially because I was younger at that point. I was in high school. But as they say, never forget. And yeah, it was a interesting day, and of course, interesting week. So yeah, I might as well. Similar to the last time I brought up a controversial topic, I'm going to do it before we have too much of tonight's drink of choice so I can monitor my words better. What I hope we tend to do here on the channel, and what I think you guys see here on the channel, is that we are a channel of acceptance, and we are a channel of be who you are, be a nerd, don't be a piece of shit. That's kind of the line we tend to walk here on Nerd Affiliated. On my personal channel, I of course am more vocal about things, but here on this channel, I tend not to be as much. But I will say that nobody deserves to lose their life for anything. Doesn't really matter what you tend to align yourself with. But that being said, we cannot live in this world where people spew hate on a regular basis, and then when hateful things happen to them, it's like it's just like a culture shock. Like that doesn't make sense to me. I was talking about that earlier today with my mom, actually, because based on the news that she watches, he was a great guy. But as somebody who consumes content of many alliances, because I always wanted to get the best or as much information as I can to make my own opinions. This was somebody who thought somebody who looks like me didn't have the same rights as the next person. Whether you agree or disagree with that statement, he has said that. So there's that. So again, do not believe anybody deserves to lose their life over things. And I think now, I said this probably every time there's been a thing happen out there, but now more than ever, we need to stop hating each other, start accepting each other. As I said in the group chat, I want the Star Trek future to be now, where like you could be who you want to be and look however you look and dress how you dress, do whatever, but everybody just likes each other because we're all humans and we have free healthcare. So those are my 2 cents on that subject. And on a prior subject, I will also say I looked up today some information, and a court case was not had this past week. It's going to a different level of court and has moved on. So there's my 3 cents on 3 different heavy topics to start the show. But like I said, before the bourbon starts going, I figure it'd be a good time to get those out the way. And there was actually a YouTuber who I used to follow, who I met through the income stream, which I've mentioned from time to time. Some of you here I met through the income stream, and I'll say I did chat once I finished the soapbox moment. And he's never talked political ever. He's always talked about theme parks and sports and stuff like that. And the video he posted yesterday was like, I'm going to do something. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to do something. And I was like, you're not helping. That's not the message that needs to be said, heard, or that you should feel. That I'm so angry, I'm going to do something in defense of the recipient. So I don't know what that his intention is, but he earned a nice unsubscribe from me, because I don't need that. And you guys don't need that either. So now we can go to the chat, say hello, and get the show on the road. Tony in the house. Good to see you. The other Tony in the house. Good to see you. The Rambling Nerd himself. And as he said, make sure you guys hit that like button. Creativity from the Future in the house. Good to see you. Dave's Dimension in the house. Good to see you. Ultra Carta in the house. Good to see you. Dropping the lyrics. Dada in the house. Good to see you. Steve-O in the house. Welcome home. Good to see you. Not from jail, from Florida. Sometimes I say things and how do I say this? I guess based on where I grew up and where I'm from, like you say something and it could mean something completely different. And like, I don't know. The second I said welcome home, I felt like I had to specify like Steve was not in jail. Because that's like a thing. Actually similar. Steve posted a meme one time that my wife was like, there's no way that's true. And it was like something along the lines of you, when you realize it wasn't normal to grow up going to school on Halloween and it being a half day because you had to get home in time before the gang initiations happened. And I was like, oh, that's not normal. Everybody didn't do that. That was just us. Okay. Got it. Just today in the mail from Ed of Rebels, Reptiles, and Games, I received the McFarlane toy Berserker Keanu Reeves figure after helping Ed get the classified crystal for him. I saw that Berserk figure, I think last week, 2 weeks ago. It's a good looking figure. I never read the comic, so I didn't have any I didn't have any ties to it, other than, you know, it's Keanu Reeves looking kind of John Wick-ish with some guns in a box. But yeah. Stand up and praise the Reverend, the Grand Bishop, HeyArcher. All offerings can be directed at nerdaffiliated.com in the form of merch purchases. I love that. Jamie in the house. Good to see ya. We're saying hi to each other. We need Meteor Man more than ever. Yep. Agreed. Helena Max in the house. Good to see you. But yeah, to Steve's point, I haven't been doing a lot of promo. I got to really change that. Or not Steve's point, to Dave's point. My bad. If you guys do want to hit us up, of course, nerdaffiliated.com, your one-stop shop for all things nerd affiliated, whether it's links to the shows, links to the latest videos, joining the channel memberships. You can find all that stuff over at nerdaffiliated.com. But yeah, on top of the memberships, if you want to support us in another way, you can pick up, as Anthony says, the gift of some sweet, sweet merch. New drops have arrived. 5 new designs or 5 new shirts. So make sure you pick that up. Halloween themed, just in time for this year's spooky season. But of course, if you want to contact us in real time, you can hit us up on Instagram, on Facebook, even here on YouTube. I know that they're really trying to push the YouTube community option. So if you want to message us there, you can do that. And closing out some windows, and yeah, we're good. Okay, so we did get a bot. I was pretty sure that was gonna be a bot. pretty sure that I was a bot. I just moved this window and it keeps moving up. I'm not even touching you can't see it, but like the window is just doing this. And I don't know why. Why is it doing that? Stop. Okay. I figure we'll open up today's show talking about some movie stuff. I did not make a lot of progress with the movie list. Now, for those of you who have not watched the last 2 episodes, for one, what are you doing with your lives? But 2, we are currently adding to our Letterboxd account. We created a new list, and the list is called Halloween 2025 New/Revisit. And the purpose of this list is to add Halloween movies that I have just not seen, or that has been so long I forgot about, onto the list. Now, disclaimers, I'm not trying to add all of the, every single horror movie ever. I tend to like the more cheesy Halloween movies. I tend to like the high school slasher. Not slasher. How do I phrase it? The movies that you would watch that are like PG-13. Like maybe a questionable R, but usually in the PG-13 range, tends to be the Halloween movies I like and enjoy, with some exceptions. So I was attempting to make some progress after not making a lot of progress last week, and I failed. However, I added 2 movies to the list. 2 movies. Now, one that we had talked about last week, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I attempted to watch that today. Couldn't do it. I believe I made it. Oh, did I not give it stars? I didn't. Oh, I did. 1. I believe I made it about 30-ish minutes into the movie, and it wasn't happening. It was not happening. Now, it's not even that I don't like the wacky kind of thing, because I thought Killer Clowns from Outer Space was actually really good. I actually really enjoyed it. But this one, I couldn't do it. I really tried. And for some reason, I feel like I didn't think it was going to be as silly as it was, even though it's called Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I don't know what I was thinking. What is funny about the movie, though, the president in the movie, very Trump-ish. So if you did like this movie back in the day and you feel like giving it a rewatch, do so. You'll see some similarities there. But I made it about 30 minutes, maybe 35. And I was like, I'm out. I'm out. I can't do it. Can't do it. Dada says Night of the Creeps, 1986. So good. Did we add that one to a list previously? We'll go to the watch list. And then I'll go back to my list. Speaking of movies, the Primitive War movie will be on digital next month, and I can't wait to watch it, as I've been waiting to watch it so badly. Yep, I've heard more good things about it. So I think you called it when you said it would be a better movie than Jurassic World. Okay, so we don't have Night of the Creeps on here. Let's look for it. Night of the Creeps. 1986. And there we go. All right. We've added that, and if we could find it on a streamer, we'll give it a watch. Once again, just to show you guys the list of what I do want to watch. Here it is on screen. There's a couple that I think I've added like to my various watch lists, but I don't think I put here. Can't think of them at the moment. I know The Craft was one of them. I just remembered to add that today. But yeah, if you have any suggestions, make sure you follow us on Letterboxd. DM us, message us, even if you're watching the replay here. Feel free. Now, the other movie that I attempted to watch was Terrifier. And yeah, no. Now, here's the crazy part. And then we'll talk about TerraCon in a my things fell. I made a pickup at TerraCon. So I do want to note that I do enjoy myself some slashers and some gory type movies from time to time. So I didn't, by saying I didn't like the movie, I didn't want you to think, oh, I don't like some, gore and whatnot. Not the case. But this one, this one was something else. I ran into the infamous murder scene that I forgot was a trending thing back when it came out. And that was my checkout point. I don't know. I feel like what makes certain horror movies that are slashers good is that you do feel like there's a story somewhere in there. Whether it's the protagonist, whether even sometimes the killer. Maybe the killer's the protagonist in some sick way, like Devil's Rejects. But this one just felt like they're just like, oh, let's think of a cool way to kill somebody that's like push it, like edgy, boom. And then with that one scene with the girl, I was like, this is not doing it for me. So it got 1.5 stars. The only reason it got a half was because I'm trying to embrace my inner, for those with good taste, wish they would come back and make some more shows. But I'm trying to embrace my inner Lenny, where I have to give it a star ranking to a certain extent based on what's worse than that movie. So going back to the list, and if I was to edit you know, I think I feel like that's a good spot for it. So it has to get 1.5. I think it's better than Attack of Killer Tomatoes. Gremlins 2 may have been the worst one I've watched so far this year. Yeah. Yeah, Gremlins 2 is the worst. So you're gonna have to get a 1. You're gonna have to get a score change. But I gotta put Terrifier again ahead of those two. And that's where we are. Oh, I didn't put... Oh, no, I did. I did put Buffy on here. Buffy was number 1 so far this year. I have no desire to watch Gremlins 2, and there should have only been one movie. Yeah, 1,000%. I don't like the hubby Halloween at all. I was very let down by it to the point I watched My Bloody Valentine, which is way better and is the true horror movie that hubby Halloween should have been. Should I add that to the list? The My Bloody Valentine? Let's go to watch lists. And oh, there was a one in 1981. I'm going to assume you meant the more recent one. Definitely add both My Bloody Valentine movies. Oh, okay. There you go. Refresh. There you go. On the list. So yeah. Oh, Hubby Halloween. That's the Adam Sandler one, right? Yeah, my friend Sam told me to add that. He said that it was like proper cheese. So that's why I added that to the list. And he had me add Thanks Killing for the same reason. Cheesiness. Whether I get through those movies or not is a whole nother story. But we'll try. Ernest Scared Stupid I did watch. That's on the list. That one is number 4. So halfway. At the halfway mark so far of what I've watched this year. In a way, I could put it over Killer Clowns, but I felt like Killer Clowns it gets the nod. I feel like that one has to get the nod. But Ernest Scared Stupid was still very good. Now, something else I've been watching, and I told you guys I came around on it, and still going strong. Actually, hang on. I'm just going to turn the fan on. And we're gonna also, I don't know where to put this thing. We're also going to go down. Down in an earlier round. All right. Oh. There we go. Waiting for the sequel. Ernest Still Scared Stupid, starring John Cena. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, I feel like at that point they should just reboot it and make it just make him buff, just a buffed Ernest, but have him still do the same like facial expressions and mannerisms and all that stuff. Archer needs music for when the desk goes up and down. I do. I totally do. It gets the blood flowing, good table. Yep. I never watched Terrifier series, but Halloween Horror Nights last week, that's all I want to watch. Yeah. So, I mean, here's the thing. He like, even at TerrorCon this weekend, every time I say TerrorCon, it sounds like I'm saying like TerraCon or something like that. TerrorCon. I saw, my fair share of Terrifier, memorabilia and merchandise. There was I think a NECA figure just dropped for Terrifier. I've seen a lot of memes online for Terrifier. So I was like, all right, there's something here. And who knows, maybe part 2 is that much better than part 1. I don't know. But it just, I don't know. I couldn't get into it. I felt like it was too much. I just felt like it was doing too much. But then again, like with any of these movies, aren't they all doing too much? I don't know. But what I've been enjoying, Alien Earth. So good. So good. I told you guys last week that episode 5 very much was a standalone Alien movie, which I maintain that to be true. So good. And then this past week's episode 6, I was like kind of happy I was watching it with the lights on in the daytime with the windows open. Like, it had some good tense moments. It had some real good tense moments. And I had to look up something that I didn't really know about in the Alien universe. Again, no spoilers here. But in the Alien universe, you have synthetics and you have cyborgs. And I never really caught that. But the synthetics are like fully robotic. Like every like android that you've seen in the movies, like the major ones, I don't know about like side characters, but like the main storyline androids have all been synthetics. Made to look like human, made to act like human, not human. But then you have cyborgs, which used to be human, or sorry, in a way they are still human, but they have cybernetic parts to them or modifications. I didn't realize that you had both of those in Aliens. I had no clue. Even though they kind of said it, but they said it in passing and it didn't register. So I thought that was interesting to see. But nonetheless, the lore building and the story that they're building right now, as far as how the corporations exist, how they operate, how synthetics operate, how the alien, like I keep saying I don't know how to describe it, so I'll just say the virus, how the alien virus operates and how there is thought. It's not just a mindless machine, is crazy. And it's really good. It is a really good show. Similar note, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll say it every single time. Star Trek Discovery this week, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. I won't spoil any part of it because me telling you the storyline of this week's episode would spoil things, but it's a story trope that I really love. And even this week with things being so divisive, I feel like it's a story that more people need to see and like process. But Stranger Worlds this week, was amazing. Absolutely amazing. So we have now finished, my wife and I, we finished watching Reacher. Season 3 was great. We are up to date. I think a new episode dropped today, but we're up to date on Stranger Worlds. I am up to date on Alien Earth. And then as of this episode, in 10 minutes, we'll be 2 episodes behind on Peacemaker. Right now we're 1 behind, but the new one drops thing at 9 o'clock. So we'll be 2 behind at that point. But we got some good television going on right now. We really do. I feel like for a while we were in this crazy drought. And, as people came at me in the comments for saying that movie theaters are dead, or it's a dying industry, I should say, these TV shows continue to prove my point that you can have really good week-to-week stuff that is not movie budget, but the stories are great. And they keep pushing the envelope with what they can do. And because of technology, things just keep getting cheaper. So like that Alien show, 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, you don't have a show like that, technology-wise, set pieces and all that, but you do now. And it's only going to continue to get better. So, in a way, something like Alien Earth is better served as a TV show than it is as a movie. And we should probably get more of that. Thunderbolts probably would have done way better as a TV show than as a movie. Didn't need to be a movie. Shouldn't have been a movie. At all. Were you talking about Alien Earth at that point? Apparently 2 and 3 were the best ones as far as Terrifier. So should I attempt to? Should I attempt it? General Kenobi. Good to see you. Patrick in the house. Good to see you. We're saying hi to each other. This is peak Star Trek. Yep. I need to start watching the Alien show. Yeah. Alien Earth. Yeah. Like I said, the first... I know a lot of people went crazy over the first 2 episodes. I think it was the first 2 is what they showed at SDCC. The first one's good. The second one, I was just I wasn't feeling it. The third one, I really wasn't feeling it that much either. But everybody just kept talking about it, and because everybody's love of it, I was like, all right, I'll give it one more episode. We'll go to episode 4, and so happy I did. The same thing did not happen with Andor. People kept saying Andor is so good. I went back to it. Nope. Went back to it a second time. Nope. So we will not be revisiting Andor a third time. At least I don't think so. But I could be wrong. But what are you guys watching right now? You watching any of those shows? Anything else I should be looking out for? That sucks. Check this out. Henry Cavill injury pushes Highlander shoot to 2026. Man. I was looking forward to that. I mean, I still am. But, bummer. Of course. Watches where you got on Thursdays. Archer, yeah. That's me. That is me. Now, before we go to toys, I want to pull up one thing and talk about it. I do want to talk about it.
Hey guys, this is Justin.
Just going to pull up the screen here. And I'm going to fast forward a bit. You can see the title, though. The title is Star Wars YouTube is Dying. I found it super interesting. I sent it to Kenobi. We were kind of texting about it a little bit. But I was thinking about this the other day. No bullshit. I was legit thinking about this the other day. And I'm going to show you something afterwards. But let's take a listen.
really dire. Like, it already got a little tougher when the trilogy ended, but Star Wars really is at an all-time low in terms of fan interest, at least on YouTube. I'm sure there are some people who were around in the way old days, you know, pre-2013, 2014, who might have a different opinion. But in the 8 years I've been on Star Wars YouTube, things are fairly dire. Like, it already got a little tougher when the trilogy ended, but I mean, we always had shows, whether Mandalorian or Kenobi or even Andor Season 2, which really buoyed interest. Now there's nothing. You know, without playing too much inside baseball, I've always had sort of a number for a good upload, an average upload, and a bad upload. For the longest time, a 30K upload, 30,000 views, was pretty much a disaster. 50K was what you'd expect, and 100K or higher was good. And, you know, usually one...
And look at that. We're almost 24 hours in. He's at 30K. He's not at 30K yet. 24/7. And if you guys were watching Daily Planet, I was talking about, you know, numbers this week where, man, I would kill for some of these numbers. Like some of these people on their worst day, like him on his worst day, only getting 24,000 views. I'm like, I'd take 15,000 views every video. Why not? But yeah, it's a different game when it's your full time.
Once a month, you'd have a video that hit several 100,000 views, 1 million views, whatever. It's just not like that anymore. Part of it is due to, yes, the decline in fan interest, but also the format itself has just, you know, expanded. There are so many other creators. It's also less fresh. Like, you can only do so many lore videos. There's only so much to talk about. And viewer interest and demographic changes. The people I'm making content for now are just different. My original audience is still there, but a good chunk of my audience has moved on and been replaced by people who are younger with different attention spans and different interests. And I'm not saying that as a value judgment. It's just objectively true.
Now, you know, let me know what you guys think as Justin is talking his way through this. But I was, and I consider myself more of an old school Star Wars fan where, yeah, I would be at work, you know, back in 2017, 2015, 2013, you know, I'd be at work and I'd be watching YouTube videos on the side while I was doing my job. I mean, I do that now, but back then I'd be watching tons of Star Wars like lore videos, and anytime Eckhart's Ladder dropped a video, I'd watch it. Theory, when he dropped a video, I'd watch it. And as time went on, I just kind of stopped. And I started to value more like a General Kenobi, right? Who varies up the content, even though there's the Star Wars theme to most of it. But videos like from these guys, like that I used to watch every single one, as time went on, I kind of like stopped. This is my first Eckhart's Ladder video in months. Easy. And it could be to what he's saying, but I feel like there's something else kind of going there. But we'll talk about it as the video plays out.
A lot of YouTube right now is really getting that hook and finding a way to get people through the front door and delivering on content. And that's always been my approach. I know a lot of you have complaints about thumbnails and titling, and I totally understand it. And I've actually, because I do really care about the audience experience, went out of my way to be a bit more descriptive with what's going on in the video. And yeah, sometimes I know some people still have issues, but I always try to make it so that if you come through the front door, that either way, at the end, you leave satisfied. So yeah, Star Wars YouTube is at an all-time low. Like, not just me, look at the other big Star Wars channels. You're seeing low numbers, especially for our subscriber base. You know, it's honestly kind of embarrassing when I talk to other YouTubers and they see my subscriber numbers and the video views, but thankfully, I want to get to the second point. It's not just Star Wars YouTube, it's all of YouTube right now. There have been changes. People have pointed to the restricted mode setting. I don't think that's as big as some people are claiming, especially for the average channel, but there have certainly been changes in how content is displayed, the home screen, the browse screen, which videos get put in front of.
Yes and no. They've done what YouTube did this year that I like is they started pushing smaller channels on the home screen. And some of you can attest to this or not. But your suggesteds when you load up YouTube nowadays tend to be lower subscriber videos. There'll be a mix of other things in there too, but there tends to be a lot of lower subscriber videos. And there's a couple channels now that I watch all their videos, and they have, you know, like myself, 2,000 subs, 4,000 subs, 5,000. You know, they get 200 views on a video maybe. And I'm really enjoying their content. So I think the changes that have been happening, you know, we're seeing the large YouTubers, you know, they notice it, but they have a different perspective on it. But in Justin's case here, he's also tied to Star Wars. So I'm going to skip forward a little bit. He talks about the, you know, it's a lot of like music and trailers and stuff on his home feed, which I was like, I don't relate to that, but
quite surprising. I have a lot of YouTube friends. I've followed a lot of YouTubers, and I see these channels, which in the past, you know, first half an hour, they'd get 10,000 views. My number used to be the first hour. A good video would get about 10,000. A really good one, 20,000, an average one, 5. And we're just all seeing decreased view velocity, and I really can't explain it, but it's tough. And it does mean that if things stay this way, I'm going to have to adapt a little bit. And it's hard. It really is hard. Like, I'm going to be a bit vulnerable and say that, yeah, working for yourself is always a risk, and it can be scary, but it's also a choice I made, and I reap the benefits. And as a business owner and as someone who employs people, at the end of the day, you just have to make it work. Thankfully, while the Star Wars channel is down, my hockey channel, the season's coming. I suspect I'll have a good year there. I've got other pokers in the fire, and I also really want to kind of move to alternate forms of funding. Like, I've been trying to push the Patreon. Fan interest has kind of waned a bit. Like, I feel like I offer a really good value proposition. So if you are interested, you can subscribe for like $2. I would vastly prefer to have several hundred people at, you know, the $2 to $5 range than a few people at the higher range, just more stable. And we're about to put out the next vote for the book club. If you're interested in that, we're going to have discussion posts as well. I'm working on an Alien video, which should come out in the next couple of days. The one on YouTube will have to be censored for the platform. There will be an uncensored version on Patreon. All
right. So yeah, commercial the rest of the way through here, but you know, it's funny. Sal messaged me in our group chat and was like, why are so many people pushing the subscriber thing? Like, it's so many channels now on his feed. He's seeing, you know, when he watches the videos, they're like, please subscribe, blah, blah, blah. And I have, you know, my thoughts as to why I think that, but you know, sticking to the Star Wars thing, let's look at Star Wars theory real quick. And this is what made me think about it the other day. Okay, so you got a video here, 8 days ago, 34,000 views. The small one, 81,000. Lightsaber, 13. Star Killer vs. Galen, 13. Exposing the Business, 57. This one, 29. 52. 88, 56, 54, 26. And then if I go down to like most popular, he's got a bunch that were in the millions. All a long time ago. Now, there's a lot happening. There's a lot to unpack. On the one hand, Star Wars is at a low, right? It's not what I think, before I even talk about Disney, what I think you have to realize is 8-10 years ago, we were still kind of riding this, oh, what are they going to do next? You know, even though, you know, movies were coming out and we started to get some of the shows start to roll out, and they weren't the best, some were good. But even in that 8 to 10 year mark, we still had like, oh, what will they do next? There was still this, will they use source material from the books? Will they bring this character back? Will they there's all this hope and drive, and you're thirsting for Star Wars content. So you're just seeking it out. When did Force Awakens come out? Let's see. 10 years ago. So, especially after Force Awakens, everybody's like, what's next? Who's Kylo Ren? How did he get that way? What's Luke gonna do? Like, there's so much wonder. So much wonder. And then that ran out. It ran out. And that's where, in a way, Disney has to take blame. You know, Disney put out stuff that, for the most part, was lackluster. Now, do people still love Star Wars? Of course. And I won't say Star Wars is dying like some of these people have said. Because, as I pointed out in the Boston Comic Con video, if you go to a convention, if you go to any comic book convention, any sci-fi convention, Star Wars cosplay is everywhere. Star Wars merch is everywhere. So people are still consuming it. It's just the hardcores are like not really there anymore like they were. Now you're just mainly relying on your casuals, which the casuals are super important. But, you know, people who are there like, oh, I'm gonna look up X, Y, and Z video to learn about who is Kylo Ren. Like, people aren't doing that as much anymore. So I think that's hurting a lot of the Star Wars content creators, that portion. Now, the other thing that falls on creators like Theory is, you know, at a certain point, I get tired of you telling me Disney sucks. I do. And he finally realized somewhere, was it Acolyte? It wasn't Skeleton Crew. Maybe it was Andor. He just stopped watching Andor because he was like, I'm tired of like sitting here watching the show, and I hate the show, and I'm doing a watch party on it. It doesn't do anything for me. So he stopped. And I actually commended him on that. But I was also just like, you know what? After a certain point, I was like, there's nothing for me to watch on the channel because you're just going to shit on whatever Disney's doing and tell me how men suck in Disney eyes and woke and all that stuff. I already went through that with these other channels that I don't follow anymore. The Quarterings of the world and all that stuff. Like, I already hear that noise over there. I don't want to hear from you now too. And I think with some of these Star Wars creators, as they complain and bitch and moan about Disney, which I'm not going to say they're wrong about a lot, it just doesn't interest me anymore. And I think for a lot of people, it doesn't interest them anymore either. Like, you're going to keep saying, go woke, go broke on Disney, and yet they keep making more and more and more money. Like, at a certain point, it's just, I'm tired of it. So I think that's hurting them. You know, I think that's hurting a lot of these creators. But they also, at a certain point, have to say, hey, F the algorithm, I'm going to diversify what I'm putting out and mix up the content. You know, at a certain point, you have such a large fan base, like, you might as well. What are you going to lose? You know, so like with Theory, unfortunately, he's been talking almost red pill-ish shit. So I don't even care about his non-Star Wars stuff at this point. I still follow him because I feel like, as somebody that still follows all this nerd stuff, he's somebody that you should still be aware of. But, you know, like him going to a Comic-Con, high view. You know, him here talking about the Gina thing, even though I disagree with him, you know, higher view. Lightsaber business, higher view. But talking about Star Wars directly, even like with the lightsabers, like, people are just like, I don't care. So I think diversifying what you talk about is going to be key for a lot of these people. And like I said, that's where I think Kenobi does well, because Kenobi goes to conventions, he does toy unboxings, he does a live stream, he talks toy news. You know, to me, that's a better value, my opinion. But I don't know. Let me know. Do you blame the creators? Do you blame Star Wars combination, etc.? Unfortunately, God awful Halo series from Paramount Plus is coming to Netflix, and this isn't good since it could lead to Netflix reviving the series. I agree. If they revived it and somehow made it better, but they didn't do it the first time. Star Wars is not for the weary. Large YouTubers are already big enough that they are monetized, and the algorithm still favors them. So with the smaller channels, it's more of a challenge to even hope to break through and grow and survive. All right, I'll cover that portion. So Sal asked, why are so many people clamoring for subscribers and begging their people to subscribe? If you're a larger channel, you're in that million range. To me, if I'm trying to sell, my channel to a company and say, hey, I'll promote whatever you want. This is what I got for a YouTube channel. I feel like it's pretty easy to be like, hey, I'm going to promote your whiskey. I got 2 million subs. I got 3 million subs. And the average person, if they don't really pay attention, they're like, wow, that's crazy. But if I go to the same company, and let's say that company is not, in the know of YouTube, I might go to them and say, hey, I got 500,000 subs. I got 20,000 subs. I get, I could get 500 million watch time views a month. But if they don't know what that means, they only know subs, they're going to be like, I don't, 500,000 is not enough. 20,000 is not enough. Even though I'm getting so many monthly views, it's a harder sell unless that person has done research and understands YouTube. So I think that's where a lot of the bigger people come from, is they want the larger sub number, because when they're selling their channel for ad space, trying to market their channel to marketers and companies, it's an easier sell to have a larger subscriber number than, hey, trust me, the watch hours are here. Because that person also on the other side can be like, well, those 500 million watch hours, was it from one video that went viral? Like, what do your other ones do? Like, how many watch hours are they getting? So that's my theory on why so many are going at the sub. The other thing, if you're subscribed to somebody, if you're somebody who, when you go to YouTube, you go to your subscriber feed and scroll that versus scrolling the home feed, you're most likely going to see the content. Whereas right now, when I open up my home feed, there's a bunch of things there that I'm not subscribed to. And then every so often it's like, oh, here's a new video from this person. And I'm like, oh, yeah. But if I'm scrolling the sub feed, then I'm most likely going to see those I'm sub to. So those are my two reasons. For a smaller creator like myself, I'm trying to promote myself not to big companies, to individual watchers. And I feel like we're still in a day and age where if somebody's scrolling a YouTube channel, first of all, getting somebody to interact with your channel, with your video in general, is hard. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that stuff. That's tough. But I feel like people are more inclined to hit subscribe if your video showed value and they see a number there that they respect. If they don't respect the number, the sub number, you may not get a subscribe. Because you're also hoping they maybe click on your channel, then they go to the channel, they look at the videos, maybe they watch another video, whatever. But if they're scrolling and you have a low sub count, even though they may like the video, you may not earn that subscribe. So that's why I think having a higher subscriber number, if you're growing, holds weight. Another thing, actually, let's say you stumble on my channel and I'm talking about this very topic. My low sub number could easily not convince you that what I'm saying holds any kind of weight. Like, I could be talking about the Hasbro earnings, and because I only have 2,000 subs, you'll be like, does he know what he's saying? But yet, if that number was 200,000 and I'm saying the same exact information, you might take me more seriously. If there was a YouTube plaque behind me, you might take me more seriously. I'm earning the what did Pat Flynn call it? Authority. You're becoming an authority. Your sub number, the plaque behind you, the view count, those are things that help you gain in the viewer's eye authority. So that's why I say if you're a smaller channel, that's where the numbers come from. But if you're on a larger channel, you're not caring so much about the individual person. You're caring about corporations, marketing yourself, promoting yourself. So that way people want to pay you to promote their stuff on the channel. Because you'll make way more money promoting a product from somebody directly than you would AdSense. So I hope that makes sense. So what you're saying is switch to Star Wars and I should be able to buy and afford a house. Switch away and you probably could. Theory can be cool at times, but he's a broken record. It's like you can't move past it and grow and evolve. It's not a good look. Exactly. Wu-Tang said on Chappelle's show, diversify your bones. Yep. Watch this. The TIE Fighter remastered and made... Oh, yeah, I think I saw that. I do think I saw that. Yeah. So, those are my thoughts there. People also care about different things at different times. You know, right now, like political content's getting tons of views. You open up any kind of social media, feed, and political stuff's there in your face day after day. And we're not even in an election cycle. So it just depends what people are looking for. At a certain point, people will start coming back to wanting to just be entertained. And that should help. But right now, things are so tense in the world. For a lot of people, they're just like, if you're not giving me like some sort of commentary on what's happening out there, like, and I can go down a rabbit hole on that, but I'll spare you guys. I'll spare you. Now, going to Hasbro, we had some new releases this week. I'm watching tons and tons of YouTube. Yeah, same. Same. So we had a new Marvel Legends drop. We apparently had a new Transformers drop, but I don't collect Transformers, so I can't talk about that. But we had a new comic book wave that dropped, and you can see a lot of it's still in stock. Over here on the Hasbro website, the only one sold out right now is Rachel Summers. If you go to Big Bad Toy Store, the only ones sold out are Rachel Summers. So apparently that was a hot figure, no pun intended. Had no clue. Now, I want to talk about YouTubers again in relation to this stuff. I watched a couple of videos this week where people were going in on Hasbro and that live stream. And, they saw this, like this figure, for example, the Rachel Summers figure, and just glossed over it like it wasn't even important. And even to me, it wasn't important. But look at that, it's sold out. So again, for a lot of us, you don't know. Let them do their thing. Let them do their releases. If it's not a release that you want, skip it. If there's at least one or two things in the release that you like or the announcement you like, consider that a win. One or two, it's a win. Nothing in the wave that you like, great. Your wallet survives another month. But this like going in on the live streams, it's getting old. It is really getting old. It makes no sense to me. To Anthony's point there, going back to the San Diego Comic-Con, Wolverine Storm 2-pack, still there. Gambit Rogue 2-pack, not too surprised at this point, still there. Going to the single releases. Oh, Spider-Man's back in stock and he's about to sell out again. The Stranger. Everybody talking about how the Acolyte sucks. Star Wars is dead. Anakin sold out and The Stranger sold out. What's your theory? What's your theory? You think Hasbro bought him up? Is that going to be the conspiracy theory on this one? Wolverine, still there. Cable, shocked, still there. Sunspot, gone. Morph, gone. Emma Frost, gone. Jubilee, gone. The ones everybody was shitting on after the live stream. They made him gay. Made him broke. Woke go broke on Morph. Sold out. So again, all these channels that you sit here and bitch and moan about what a trash live stream, blah, blah, blah. You don't know shit. You do not know shit. You don't. You could say it was a weak wave. Wasn't what I'm collecting. I'm good. But the whole Hasbro doesn't know what they're doing. Hasbro's blah. All right. I'm going to play devil's advocate on one thing. I'll go devil's advocate on one thing. We have no idea how many they ordered of each one. So it's very well that a selling out of that morph could be like a quarter of the volume that the Cable figure has on order from the manufacturer. Could very well be. So there's my devil's advocate point. But I was watching this video this week and I was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Nobody wants that Silver Surfer figure? Sure. Clicked on the outlet to see if anything new's here, but it seems like this is stuff we've seen before. Nothing crazy. But we had the Haslab finally close out. And I'll go back to the pricing in a second. The new price increase. The missing link figures be selling out. Mega Dan in the house, good to see you. Star Wars Lego mini. You love those Lego minifigs. Who were said to toy tubers talking about them? I gotta go watch the episode. I don't want to say. So the drop ship finally closed, and it was, to Kenobi's point, a photo finish. I did not think it was going to back. We were tracking it over on the Instagram. I was like, there's no way. Sure enough, ended up backing day before, and they finally completed all of the numbers for international, and it got to one tier. So it went from no tiers to one tier. Congratulations to everybody getting it. Generally, I'm not being sarcastic. If you got the space to show it, if you're a vintage collector, it's great. In fact, I hope they bring it to New York Comic Con, even though it's closed. Because I do want to see it in person. I'm just not a vintage collector. I've never been into the scale. Now, maybe to do Troopers, it would work. But when I look at the heroes, it doesn't. The heroes don't do it for me. Not at that scale. Now, one of the issues I think this had, and I'm going to go to that, the pricing point, was price. Right now we are dealing full on. We are full on in Trump tariff costs world. The companies eating the costs are done. We've talked about it before. $450. That is very high for a Haslab with no electronics in it. Very, very high. And I'm wondering if we did not have the tariff stuff going on right now, would this still have been $450? Because if it wasn't $450, you probably would have unlocked all 3 tiers. Because I think if this one was like $350, some people may have bought more than one. Maybe. It's a stretch. Maybe. So you're saying there's a chance. But at $450, you definitely didn't get casuals. Casuals were like, I'm out. I'm out. You needed the flippers involved. They seemed to come through. You need the hardcores involved. Some of them came through. But, a lot of people, I think, with the way the world is going right now, dropping $450 on a vehicle, it's a tough call. Now, if you don't have the previous Haslabs on display, that causes an issue. The other one that would have actually stopped me from backing it if I was a vintage collector was the Cantina. If I received my Cantina this week at the $400, and then there was the other tier, right? Wasn't it like... Are they going to show what the other tier was? Wasn't it like 400 and 300? I don't think it was 500. Let's see. Will it tell me? I thought I saw a price at some point when I was scrolling. Did I make that up? What were the 2 tier prices? Anyway, if I received this before the other one closed, based on the review I saw from Geekstrong, I wouldn't have backed it. I would have been so disappointed on this one. I would have been like, I'm good. I'm good. Even though the dropship is a way better value. And I feel like you can do more with it. But I would have been out. So I wonder if the Cantina is showing up, how many that affected. How many orders did that affect? Ecto 1, 15,000 backers. That one barely made it through. 325 to 400. Barely made it through. So, I don't know. If I'm Hasbro right now, when it comes to the Haslabs, gotta be very selective. Gotta be very selective. I still don't know what's going on with this freaking Ghostbusters Proton Pack. They haven't put a date on it other than it's coming out next year. We don't know when the pre-orders are closing. It's gone on longer than most pre-orders have. So are they waiting to hit a certain number and then they're going to announce they're going to end it? I don't know. I don't know. Hasbro, if you want me to come model this thing, hit me up. You're moving to Boston, so I'm down. Hit me up. Hit a boy up. Let's do it. But I think pricing power in a lot of things is really becoming an issue. Really becoming an issue. Ultra says, still upset the Haslab LAAT funded. Very, very upset one of the 3 Jedi got unlocked. I mean, I don't think you could be upset at both sides of that. Either you're upset it funded to send a message, or you're upset that you only got one out of the three and you wanted all three. Like, I don't think you'd be upset about both. I also want to call out this a-hole for being to me about the 2 Jedi figures they believe will never get released when they will get released. Look at Mephisto. He finally got released. Yeah, it's a good point. Mephisto, the figures from that wave, from that Haslab, the Proton Pack coming back again. Like, they are revisiting Haslabs. So those figures that we're not getting, I'm sure they'll be back in some way, shape, or form. They even said the Silver Surfer was based on the Haslab version, which is updated. So that's what also gets me to hold out hope that we'll get another shot at the Sentinel figure. The one that was up for pre-order. They have to do another shot at some point. It's too expensive to just let that mold sit there for no reason. Clapping to the Haslab. I'm currently collecting Star Wars, so I don't have a horse in the race, but I wasn't impressed. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't either. Thank God the Ecto Haslab was done before the dark times, the tariffs. Is it? You know, for the first time ever, we're going back up. We're going up. Hit up General Kenobi's bunker. Like, comment, subscribe, get certified. All right, let me fix the camera. I talked about it when the tariffs got released, and you know, with the way Big Bad Toy Store has been doing it, I don't doubt more companies are going to do it. Where after the fact, they're like, "Hey, I know this was the price of the figure. Times have changed. If you want it, got to pay a difference." And that Ecto 1 would not be surprised. I mentioned it too. I mentioned it when I was talking about the tariff stuff. Stuff like the Haslabs. You know, right now the Sentinel's delayed. And I don't think it's delayed because of manufacturing problems. So the Sentinel's delayed. The Mondo Ghostbuster figures are getting delayed. I don't think a lot of these companies are going to delay these things indefinitely. And they're not going to eat the cost on all these things either. It's pretty expensive. So you might start getting some emails like, "Hey, if you want this Ecto 1, you got to pay the extra $50. I know for my Street Fighter figures, it was an extra $2. I was like, whatever. Turn this over a little bit. Certain figures from Haslabs that either have been unlocked or never unlocked will get a release with minor changes. Example, Cobra Commander from the His 10 got released with minor changes. Yeah, I agree. The last two Haslab projects, Star Wars and G.I. Joe, have really been weird. You would think they would go for an automatic home run. They always run the risk of not making the goals with weird choices. Yeah, the G.I. Joe one was a surprise because all of them unlock fully pretty fast. Star Wars one, I was not surprised because Star Wars tends to really drag. The Ghost didn't start unlocking its tiers until 2 days before, somewhere in there. Did the Snowcat get all the tiers? It did. So, and this one was also crawling. But like Kenobi was saying yesterday, like I've talked about before, you need the flippers involved. And once the FOMO starts to hit, people start buying more than one thing because they know there's a chance they can resell it and get some money. Kenobi was saying he has a friend that bought 5 of the Ghosts. One for himself, 4 to sell, and he already had a seller on one of them after the fact. So, you know, at a certain point, like I don't encourage it, especially like with the Ecto 1. I was like, I don't know how many of those you can really flip because I know that the Proton Pack Haslab, a lot of people were trying to flip those things and were struggling until Frozen Empire came out and they got a little bump there. But I don't know how many of those. Like, let me look it up right now. Ghostbusters Haslab for sale. Yeah, this one for $725. $949. Like, why buy these? Why buy these? Especially with the new one. So you got a lot of people who are just buying these to flip them. And the thing is, you need them to get these Haslabs backed, because if not, you're not hitting the numbers. You're not hitting the numbers. Currently the new Ghostbuster Proton Pack, I feel like, is the best bang for your buck at the moment. Yes, it doesn't come with the wand, and it doesn't come with the hardware to put it on the Alice frame. But that being said, a Spirit Halloween pack is ballpark the same amount, and you still got to do those mods for the most part. So the electronics, the build quality, in a way, it's like buy more than one of them just for your own collection. And who I feel bad for are those people who, like, let's say you want to have different types of Ghostbuster Proton Packs on display. If you bought the Haslab and then you modified it to look like 84, you're not really trying to reverse it. And your display could have been like an OG 84 pack and an Afterlife pack. And then maybe your Spirit pack was like GB2, and you can have one from like each generation. So now you kind of lose out on that by thinking the Haslab pack was a one-shotter, do what you can with what you got. And it's not the case. But I feel like that's probably a smaller collection of people. In my opinion. Hasbro should have instead done an LAAT carrier version with an ATOT walker, as that would have been a way better Haslab. I agree. I think I just seen someone put their canteen up on IG or short as a lot and a lot more. I have a Lego version of the Cantina, so much better space-wise. I miss a lot. Did they say where they're moving to? Or who's? Oh yeah, Hasbro's moving to Boston. Because I'm giving out the truth craft, and it's not just a fact; it's truth. I'm playing with you. I have no foot in the race. Yeah, look up the Lego Death Star. Yeah. So last thing I'll talk about that. The video I watched, the person was going in on Hasbro moving to Boston, and well, not going in. They listed it as like a cherry on top to like Hasbro's a mess. Moving to Boston, company wise, right now, is what people are doing. Companies are doing it. Real estate's not that expensive if you're on the corporate level. We have an international airport. If you need to get to New York City, you can take the train. You can fly. You fly there in 45 minutes, not even. Them moving their headquarters to Boston is a level up. No knock on Rhode Island. It is. So anybody who's crapping on that, you don't know what you're talking about. And I hate sounding like a corporate defender, because I'm not trying to do that. Or a corporate simp. But it's true. Lego just moved here. So that's what I gotta say about that. Be careful who you listen to on YouTube. Maybe I'm the one you should be careful about. I don't know. But at least I do some research, some homework. At least I attempt to. But all right. That's an episode. That's a wrap. I think that's all I wanted to cover today, I believe. Oh, by the way, there was also this announcement, which not a lot of people were talking about. Man Collect talked about it. Or Man Collects, I mean. But we got the cowl and baton from Daredevil. Fire. To Dave Dimension's point, is it better to print it or to buy it? If they have it at New York Comic Con to view, that'll be my decision maker. How does it look in person? And is the price worth it? They still haven't announced the price yet. But, I mean, yeah, you can print. This is a fairly easy print from my understanding. But you don't have to paint it and all that stuff. So, I don't know. I think this was a win. I think that live stream in general was a win. I keep seeing that everywhere. People got to make reviews to re-up the cost. If you saw people on Whatnot auctioning, spending Lego mini figures, you would lose your mind. $1,000 Lego sets is nothing to these people. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. People like to buy it and flip it. That's what Whatnot's all about. But that's a wrap. That's an episode. Appreciate all of you guys and gals for stopping by. Once again, be kind to each other. Be nice to each other. Stop hating each other. Anybody telling you that now's a good time to start hating somebody and attacking somebody, don't do it. Don't do it. HeyArcher Live every Thursday, 8:15 p.m. here on Nerd Affiliated. Daily Planet videos, almost daily, dropping here on the channel, so make sure you are subscribed for that. If I get time, I'll do one tomorrow. If not, we get some this week. We dropped our TerraCon. Oh, I didn't talk about TerraCon. Remind me next week. We dropped our TerraCon review video today, so make sure you guys check that one out. It was a good time. Cannot wait to see, and I didn't get a chance to, I want to do more Halloween videos. I was going to talk about that too. All right, we got stuff to talk about next week. Remind me. I'm trusting you. Remind me. Like, comment, subscribe, talk to all you nerds in the next video. Peace. We're out of here. Shout out to Craft Collects.
More specifically, vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
Yeah, come on, push a button. Push a goddamn button.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.